Mayan civilization, the most mysterious civilization in history. A brief history. Imagine a civilization that knew the movements of the stars more accurately than modern telescopes. A people who built giant temples without metal tools and predicted eclipses thousands of years in advance, where the inhabitants looked into the eyes of the gods every day and disappeared, as if dissolving into thin air, leaving behind only stone riddles. This is the Maya, the most mysterious civilization of the ancient world. Their language, calendar, mathematics, and cosmogony still shock scientists. Who were they? Where did they come from? And most importantly, why did their mighty kingdom disappear in one moment, leaving the jungle to swallow silence? In this video, we will delve into the short but extremely rich history of the Mayan civilization. You will learn about their rulers, bloody rituals, incredible discoveries, and perhaps get the key to the main mystery of their disappearance. Stay until the end. The most interesting thing will come next. And if you are fond of ancient civilizations and mythology, subscribe right now so as not to miss the next journeys into the darkest corners of history. They didn't just build cities, they carved them out of nature itself. The stone pyramids of the Maya tower above the jungle, like guardians of time. Their staircases lead not only to the top of the temple, but also to the depths of mysteries that no archaeologist has yet been able to unravel. Who were these people who, without a wheel, created one of the most advanced cultures on the continent? The Maya knew time and space like no other. Their calendar predicted events for millennia. Some researchers even believe that they had knowledge that came from non-earthly sources. How else could they explain their ability to accurately measure solar cycles, the phases of the moon, and the movement of Venus without modern technology? But what is most striking is the deep religious system, where each day had its own spirit and each breath had meaning. The Maya believed that the world was created several times, and that each generation of gods brought something new, leaving man on the verge of light and darkness. Their priests didn't just pray, they controlled time, made sacrifices to maintain the balance of the cosmos. The cities of Tikal, Palenque, and Chichen Itza were centers of power, knowledge, and rituals. Here, prayers were said in a language we still don't fully understand. Here, the fates of empires were decided. Here the stars told kings when to start war or peace, when to make sacrifices, and when to be silent. But in one moment, everything disappeared. Without war, without cataclysm, without farewells. The Maya abandoned their majestic temples and left us with one question. Why? In the next few minutes, we'll try to get closer to this solution. We'll talk about hypotheses that shatter our understanding of history, about the gods to whom human hearts were offered, and about a culture that could know more than we imagine. Watch on, it'll get even more mysterious. And if you like this kind of content, subscribe so you don't miss the most mystical. Let's delve even deeper into the era when the Maya flourished amidst the impenetrable tropics, creating an empire that had no equal. Their cities were not just settlements, they were centers of knowledge, observatories, temples, where every wall spoke in a language of symbols. Their writing system was one of the most complex in the world. Maya glyphs not only described events, but also encoded energies, divine cycles, and prophecies. The Maya civilization created dozens of city-states that lived in a constant game of power, diplomacy, and magic. Each city was ruled by an ahau, a divine king, a descendant of the gods, who was chosen not only by blood, but also by the stars. He was at the same time a priest, a general, and an astrologer. Imagine the city of Tikal. Tall temples decorated with bas-reliefs of the gods, vast sacrificial plazas where the entire people gathered. It was here that at night the priests watched the movements of the stars, and during the day they decided when to start a war, when to sow corn, when to make a blood sacrifice. Yes, the Maya believed that without blood, the world would stop. Sacrifices are not just a ritual. This is the language with which the people addressed the gods, made agreements with them. The greater the danger, the greater the sacrifice. The blood of the king is the most valuable, and sometimes the heart of a captive, torn out near the sacred stone. However, along with mysticism, they had an extraordinary desire for harmony. They did not build for eternity. Their buildings were an extension of nature. The Maya worshipped the forest, rain, fire, corn, wind. They understood the interconnectedness of all living and non-living things. For them, the world was a giant tree, the world tree, connecting the underground, earthly, and heavenly levels. This cosmogony is not just a fairy tale. It influenced everything: architecture, war, marriage, holidays, even death. The Maya were not afraid of death because they believed that the soul could return or ascend to the stars. And here's the main question: how could such a powerful civilization disappear? Theories vary: drought, overpopulation, religious cataclysms, or maybe the Maya reached a certain threshold of knowledge that forced them to simply disappear, leaving behind only mysteries, temples, and the views of the gods carved in stone. This is just the beginning of the story. If you are interested in finding out how the most mysterious people of America lived, thought, and disappeared, subscribe, click on the bell, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Next, more mysticism, more history, more truth, hidden in the jungles of Yucatan. Amidst the jungle, where birds sing that you won't find in any atlas, stand temples that still hold the breath of the Mayan civilization. One of them is the temple in Palenque, a city considered the sacred rose of the jungle. Pakal the Great was buried here, a ruler who was considered a god and whose face, carved on a slab, still causes debate among scientists and mystics. Who was he? A man? Or maybe a messenger from the stars? Yes, the Mayans are also a mystery that has not been solved yet. Their calendar became the reason for global panic in 2012. But the truth is much deeper. It was not the end, but a restart point, another turn in the endless wheel of time that they depicted in their pyramids and rituals. Their astronomy was so precise that even modern scientists admit that the Maya knew about eclipses, the cycles of Venus, the movements of the stars, and the influence of the moon better than Europeans did centuries later. And all this without telescopes, without computers, only through observations passed down from generation to generation. And what is more important, they did not divide the world into material and spiritual. For them, everything was one. The temple is the body, the wind is the spirit, blood is the energy that pulsates in every leaf, in every riverbed, in every heart. And that is why the Maya civilization did not disappear. It simply changed form. Its spirit lives on in its descendants, in its symbols, in its temples, where the wind still whispers, and in the knowledge that hides in the shadows of the jungle. So if you want to learn more about what is hidden in the pyramids, manuscripts, star code, and ancient cities, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click on the bell, and leave a comment. What mystery of the Mayan civilization impressed you the most? Next will be even deeper, even more mysterious, even closer to the truth that has been sleeping for so long under the green blanket of the tropics. At the heart of the Maya Empire is the city of Tikal. It was hidden in the thickets of the Guatemalan jungle and remained unknown to the world for centuries. The huge pyramids, towering above the trees, are not just temples. They are stone time mechanisms. Each stone is positioned with accuracy to the minute, reflecting the movements of celestial bodies. At night, the shadow of the pyramid can indicate the arrival of the equinox, and during the day, tell about the time of harvest. Tikal was not just a political center. It was the spiritual heart of the Maya. Sacrifices were performed here, which we perceive with horror today. But for the Maya, it was a sacred act of restoring energy between the world of people and the gods. Their religion did not know clear boundaries between life and death. They believed that the soul continues its journey, and death is just a transition to another form. A special place in their culture was occupied by language, glyphs, with which they recorded their knowledge, prayers, events, the stories of kings and stars. And although many codices were destroyed during the Spanish conquest, those that remained silently shout about the greatness of knowledge that we are only beginning to understand. Only in the 20th century was it possible to partially decipher the written Mayan language, and what we have learned is amazing. They kept chronicles not only of people but also of gods. Their legends tell of the creation of the world, of previous eras, of people made of wood, clay, and ultimately of corn, the sacred source of life. They believed in the repetition of history, in the cosmic cycle, in the fact that everything has its time and its purpose. The Mayans were magnificent architects, but also mystics. Their pyramids are not just buildings, but portals. A gateway to other dimensions that could be entered through ritual, music, blood, or simply through understanding the great truth. We are only part of a grand plan. So don't stop here. Then we will touch on even deeper layers. In the following videos, even more about the doomsday calendar, the cosmic origin of the gods, prophetic texts, and lost cities. Subscribe right now so you don't miss the main thing, because the Maya haven't told you the most important thing yet.